Welcome to my Sekiro Damageless run. Today we'll be doing the Immortal Severance ending. I've done Shura ending previously, but we get to fight a few more bosses in this one, and it's an overall better run. Usually my runs are live, but this one I got off stream when I was practicing. I didn't really expect to get it so soon, so I'm going to be providing some commentary recorded for it afterwards. Let's see how this goes. I hope you enjoy it. Here in the beginning, what I'm doing is I'm going on a kind of safe path on the left. And here I'm doing this jump and grab move a lot. It lets me cover a little bit more ground, so it's a bit faster. Specifically only when I can't sprint. We're just gonna skip through a bunch of Kuro dialogue and jump down here. This saves a tiny bit of time compared to opening the door, so that's why I do it. And yeah, pretty much you can just sprint through the entirety of this opening tutorial section. We're gonna grab the ash. I'm gonna be using that later for some of the mini bosses. Gonna call Kuro down. I fumbled the menuing there a bit. We should be doing a little bit more jumping and grabbing here. Yep, here we go. I apologize. I know it looks goofy, but it is what it is. And we get started with Geni. Nothing special going on here. Just gonna do standard stuff. He seems to be doing this running around you and doing a sweep attack move a lot in this fight. It's pretty nice to just be able to hold down the attack button to be able to interrupt it like this. I think there's a better way to do it where you just do a regular attack. But it's just more comfy for me to just hold down the button. And there we go, we're done. Moving on to the actual game. On the left you can see a box that has a list of different bosses and mini bosses. Those are what we call splits. They help me keep track of times that I've taken damage, or if I'm doing a hitless run, times that I've been hit. So they don't function like speedrunners' splits. And the reason I like to have those there is because I can both compare it to my PB, which is my personal best. You can see a column for that there as well. And I can identify which areas or bosses in the game are problem areas that I need to work on. And under everything you can see the in-game timer. So if you see it pause during loading screens and whatnot, don't be confused. That's how it's supposed to work. Here we're going to pick up some gotcha sugar. We're going to be using about 4 or 5 gotcha sugar this run. And the first one we're going to use right here, although I mess up. I collide with a wooden crate here, break it, and cause the enemies to come follow me. I mess up my movement here. I was mostly experimenting to see if I can get past them without aggroing them, but And you can, I think, but I messed it up. So one of them has followed me up here. Luckily, it doesn't really attack me. But it can throw rocks. Yeah, there's one. But yeah, as long as the ogre is alive, these guys stay away. I think. Based on my experience anyway. But yeah, we deal with the ogre and move on. Here, immediately after ogre, we're gonna go pick up divine confetti. Well, we're gonna mess up picking it up and then pick it up. And that's useful because it lets me do more vitality damage to certain bosses, which means more of the posture damage is going to stick. And I'm going to be using that both to do things like Script Monk or True Monk, I should say, and to just deal more damage in general. But yeah, we come into this Thomas area, we're going to have to go avoid Thomas now. Let's run really fast here. In my previous runs, I used to go into the palanquin here and do the eye stab on Thomas, but I don't really do that anymore. You know, every run that I do, I try to do something a little more optimized. So it's not the same route every time. And yeah, we get away from the snake. Sorry, I mean Thomas. Shoot. Anyway, we're gonna pick up. This should be the last gotchin that we need to pick up, so... But I believe I mess up later. And then I have to get one more gotchin, I'm not entirely sure. We're also gonna pick up the balloons and cash inside this house. And just move on. On to Gyobu. Again, picking up Ash for the further goals in the run. Yeah, we just begin the spam of R1s. Nothing really special going on here either. I think in a couple parts I decide to go in and deflect to interrupt the paddling combo like Yoru does sometimes. Like right here. Here I was a little worried about getting pushed into the fire, but it actually does deal damage, and it would have ruined my damageless run. Luckily we avoided it. Again, I interrupt the combo. And there he goes. Without firecrackers or any of the other tricks, this is not really a scripted fight. I can't be bothered to go get firecrackers early. I'd rather just fight Gyobu instead. And then get firecrackers and everything else in one trip. But yeah. So here after Gyobu, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go deal with one of the rats up here. This is to advance the Tengu quest so we can get Ashina arts. You can do that ahead of time without ever talking with Tengu. And just continue on to Bull. I'm going to try to keep the bowl as safe as possible. I don't think I do a terribly good job of this bowl, but who knows. Here I was very confused by having contact medicine, which I got as loot from the rat. I hadn't noticed it. So it messed up my entire menuing. But yeah, we get rid of the first guy and we stand here and do Divine Confetti. And the bowl takes care of the two guys over there for us. And here mostly my goal is to get some headshots, interrupt the endless charges that Paul does. Here it starts charging again, unfortunately. Our main goal is to loop him, but sometimes he breaks out of the loop. And I'm gonna go for more headshots here. Those staggers interrupt and give us another chance to get the loop. That's mostly what I want. I know a lot of people lock on to get the headshots, and I tried it myself, but too often I press the lock off button and it doesn't lock off in time. So I just decided to do it fully locked off. I'm also gonna idle to the last, or no, use the homeward idle to the last idle here. And it doesn't actually take us to the last one, it takes us to the next one, because the door to Bull's Arena is closed here afterwards, so the game kind of patches up that instance. And we're gonna pop some balloons after talking with the old woman to get the Akko and Divine Confetti. Those are gonna help us in some fights later. And I'm taking a very specific path through here, although my grapples are a little slow, like that one. And I'm gonna sneak and stand here and aggro this enemy on purpose. It's going to walk forward and investigate, and I'm just gonna go on the side and avoid being seen. Alright, and we made it to the antechamber. Just gonna pick up the ashes, or fail to pick up the ashes like 3 times. Wow. Alright. Moving on. I'm not gonna go fight Geni yet. We're gonna go back to the Ishina Castle Gate. Because now is when I go talk with Tengu. Well, and to the merchant. The reason I do everything in here is because I'm gonna go to Dilapidated Temple and get some stuff installed. So I want to do all of it in one trip. So I'm coming all the way here. We're gonna sell our coin purses. And then I'm going to buy the firecrackers and a lot of ash. Hello, definitely not Isshin. We're gonna be talking with Tengu here. Accept his challenge. And we've already dealt with one of the rats, so just talk to him again and get the esoteric text. We're also gonna get the Shinobi esoteric text. The reason I'm doing all of this before Geni is because I would rather have firecrackers and Mikiri counter before Geni. Just a smoother ride that way. Also, a Mikiri counter is really good on Geni. So yeah, we get the esoteric text, get the firecrackers installed, equip them, and head on over. Here in the antechamber, I'm going to try to do a skip called Backside Dojo. And I do it successfully in the beginning, and then I fall down by accident. And now I'm going to fail it numerous times for no real reason. Don't look, it's embarrassing. And I almost got hit there, too, as an icing on the cake. Yeah, I'm quite surprised that this run even made it very far here. We're gonna get into the Geni fight. It's pretty much the same as the previous Geni fight, but he can do the arrow combo attack, where he goes up in the air and fires at you 4 times, like here. There we go. Here, I interrupt this long combo with firecrackers. Nothing special going on, just making sure I deflect everything. I'm gonna go on to the second red dot. There is a better dodge for this combo, but I wasn't in a good position to do that. So I ended up just canceling it with firecrackers again. Moving on to second phase. We're gonna take the free Mikiri in the beginning. And this phase is a lot easier than the last phase, because you don't have the arrow attack to worry about. So where I position and how I position is much more lax. And that's the dodge that I wanted to do last time, but I wasn't in the wrong position. And we finish him off. There we go. Goodbye, Geni. We're gonna be engaging in some dialogue now. And I have a neat trick for it. So in this game, if you have the subtitles disabled, you can actually exit out of a lot of the dialogue with the start key, but have it still advance. So here I immediately exit out after picking the right option. I do it numerous other times here. And while Kuro is walking to the other spot, we have enough time to pop the memory of Geni. And I'm also going to get the descending carp, mostly because there's nothing else to get really at this point that would benefit me. And we move on. Gunfort is next, but we're not going there yet. I'm going to go talk with Ashina here, because we actually can't go fight the monkeys without talking to Ishina, even if we go all the way to the temple. Again, I'm exiting out of the dialogue here multiple times. And we're done. Okay, we go back to Kuro's room and move onward to Gunfort. Before I head off into Gunfort, I'm going to be picking up the shrine key. We're actually not going to be using it yet, because I want to get Mortal Draw before I go into the Centipede fight. But I'm not coming back to Kuro's room until after I defeat Al, so better to just get it out of the way now. Now, Gunfort is one of the worst areas in the game for going through. I'm going to be pausing a lot and taking very specific paths. The beginning is kind of easy. We're just gonna go grapple in. We don't have to mind this guy. He's gonna shoot, but it's gonna miss. We're also gonna do this jump here to get the lower grapple. Could be a little more optimized. And we gotta get rid of this lizard here. I don't death blow it on purpose because it's faster this way. But yeah, if I just started shimmying here, the lizard would try to hit me. Now comes the concerning portion. We're gonna gotch in here to avoid some aggro in the beginning. Gonna jump down, and I actually believe I get the wrong grapple point here. Yeah, I don't get the inner grapple point, but it doesn't matter on this one. But on this branch, it does matter to get the inner one. Because there's a higher likelihood to get shot if I get the outer grapple point. And here is another section that I mess up, and I waste a gotch in here. So for some reason I thought I wasn't crouching, and I pressed the crouch button again. And if you don't crouch here, even if you have gotch and sugar, you'll get detected. So now I have to wait here for the enemies to de-aggro. And here I use another gotchin because I wasted the last one. Normally I would not need to use this. But yeah, we gotta stay crouched when we go onto this bridge. And now I wait, and I start again. We're just gonna sprint and jump around this hole in the bridge. Again, taking the innermost grapple point on the branch. Otherwise, we can get shot. And here's where I would use the second gotchin. You don't really benefit from this second gotchin much, but it lets me avoid having to deal with a couple of enemies later on. So we can get through the area a little bit faster. This is really the only enemy I actually have to defeat here. Get the death blow, pick up the snap seeds. We're going to use that on false monk. Snap seeds deal apparition damage, or deal damage to apparition enemies. And we go back to Ishina Castle. Now that we are done with Gunfort, well, not done, but we went there and got the idol. We're going to be heading over to get Mortal Blade. And the reason I'm doing it in this order is Gunfort is a rough section to go through. But I would like to use Mortal Draw on the Centipede. So we're going to be doing it this way. We're going to go get the Mortal Draw in Senpo Temple now, and then go back to Gunfort and continue. This whole abandoned dungeon entrance thing, we're just gonna sprint right through it. Nothing much to do in here. Right here on the left in the boat, we're gonna pick up an extra Akko. Well, oh, it's 2 extra Akkos. I misremembered. And then here I make a mistake. I should wait for this guy to turn around fully before I go, but I didn't. To be fair, I've been getting away with that every time. It seems they're too slow to shoot in time. But still, not great practice. I haven't done it enough to be sure. Here, as we go into the beginning of the Senpo Temple area, I'm going to be picking up the gotchin that I wasted. I'm going to be replacing that one. We only need 1 more for the rest of the run. So I'm going to take it out now. Is this one? For some reason, it's really hard to pick up. I don't get why the prompt to pick it up doesn't always appear in time. Must be my angle or something. And we're gonna go through here. Some of these monks do have ranged attacks, but they don't come out fast enough to matter. Even if I miss the grapple like I did there. And here as I grapple up, I immediately jump and grapple again, because there's a guy behind me that can take me out. So we're just gonna, well, not take me out, but he can throw shurikens. And here in the section that's coming up, I mess up. So before that, I'm going to sneak here and wait for this rat that comes down to walk a few steps. And the reason we do that is because there's a rat behind that cliff that hears us and can aggro. And that's my mistake right there. We did an extra grapple here. I'm not supposed to grapple to the topside branch. Aggroed the enemy and I just barely didn't get shot. And now we go to warrior. We're gonna start with some firecrackers, get some extra damage in. And the only thing I really do different on Armored Warrior is I don't deflect this last part of the combo. The reason I don't is because you get staggered by it, which I consider a hit, and even though this is a damageless run, I don't want to be hit, so I don't. And we get the posture break. Throw him off the ledge. And we're done. This section that's coming up is another one of those just sprint through sections. No special things to do in here, as long as you know the path to run through. And we stay on the left. We don't go over the top of this rooftop, because there's a guy on the right that can see us. And here, as I get up to the next rooftop, we're going to be using the last gotch and sugar. And that lets me go through this area slightly faster, slightly more greedy. And we're going to round this corner very sharply. It's very important, because if you go around in a circular path, you're going to aggro the guy behind the corner, and he has ranged attacks. Now it's monkey time. We take out the first invisible monkey. We're going to go up here, get the bell monkey. We're currently not being seen by the green monkey because it can't see us because of the gotchin. This is the only reason we really have this. It makes it more convenient. And now I'm going to scare the last monkey on purpose. Grapple down, because it's going to run in this direction. There he is. And up in here, it can't see us. So I'm just going to take it out. There we go. Monkeys. One of the bosses of all time. So we're going to go here, talk with the Rice Girl, and get Moral Draw. I'm going to put it on immediately because I've forgotten before and gotten damaged because of that. And here, after I pop the memory, it's important that I get the mid-air combat arts. There we go. We're going to use that on the Centipede. Gonna start out the fight with an Akko used. This is gonna be a completely scripted fight. I'm gonna start out with some Ash. And then when we get the jump here, I'm going to get the death blow. I'm gonna chill out on the ground before I take it. Gives us the animation that I want. Immediately do a jumping mortal draw, and do a double mortal draw, and we're done. Now we're going to continue. I'm going to walk on the bridge until I see the sign of Thomas approaching. The reason we do it this way is if I jumped straight down, which you can do, I would take damage. But for some reason, if you aggro the Thomas first, you're not going to take damage. We're just going to wait and then go. We're going to go through this running section here all the way to the Guardian Ape idol. But after that, we're not going to continue the Guardian Ape. I'm actually going to go do Monk. And I'll say more about that later. But here, we're just going to take a predetermined path. Nothing special to do in here. The aggro doesn't matter. The monkeys don't get time to shoot in time. And here we are. And the reason we're going to Monk first is because since I am scripting Monk anyway, it's more advantageous that I have the memory from the Monk, so I'll have more attack power for the boss that I'm actually concerned with, which is Guardian Ape here. So we're just going to have more damage for Guardian Ape as opposed to Monk where we wouldn't need it. And I'm not going to be doing the snake, not the snake, but the monkey mind control trick here. We're actually going to be doing a skip. So we are going to go through the cave. But you can actually just walk forward and then jump with the right timing. You will not be hit by Thomas. And there we go. Gonna pick up the Divine Confetti. And it's time to take care of Snake Eyes. The only Snake Eyes we fight in this run. We're gonna do a series of grapples. We gotta take care of this guy. He can see us when we're fighting Snake Eyes, so I'm taking care of that. Immediately, I'm crouching to de-aggro Snake Eyes because she can see us from over there. We're gonna get the stealth death blow and then continue the fight normally after that. There we go. We deal with her, and then I'm going to continue over. There's the mist area here. I'm gonna have to go through Mist Noble and then make it over to Mivu Village. Now my running section through here is not, or I should say my route through here is not perfect. There's definitely some optimization that could be done here. But it's okay. We're gonna skip going on the ground by jumping here, so we don't have to grapple onto the branch. In this section right here, you don't need to take this. You can actually go do a little skip with the tree branch around the Miss Noble house. But I don't know, I never really learned how to do that skip. And it doesn't save that much time. So I just decided to do it this way. The intended way, I guess. Now we finish off the best enemy FromSoft has ever made. And move on. Nothing special in this portion, we're just gonna jump down. It looks kind of bad, but it's quite easy to do. Just get the grapple. Mibo Village is another place where, you guessed it, we can just sprint through most of it. The only section that requires any kind of finesse is what's coming up. So there's this bell enemy here. We're going to jump and grapple as the bell enemy is attacking and avoid the hit. And just keep sprinting. Here, I also dip into this house to get some extra divine confetti. I use a lot more of this confetti than I do in my Shura Damageless run, which is also on the channel. And the reason for that is that the late game bosses, especially something like Sword Saint Isshin, I never remember which way it is. I think it's Sword Saint. They have a lot of HP, especially in later phases. Owl is also annoying. But yeah. We're gonna do this monk cheese, you've probably seen it before. You can kind of stagger and get a plunge attack on monk that you're not really supposed to get. So I'm just gonna back away and jump on monk. Alright. So we're done with that. We're gonna go get the shelter stone and go over to Guardian Ape. That's the Guardian Ape flower is gonna be the last of our 3 MacGuffins that I need to get. We're gonna come back here later because we're doing the Immortal Severance ending. Here I just get some skill level ups. I pop the memory from monk. Nothing too special. There's not really much to get anymore. We already have everything that's really good. So we just move on. For Guardian Ape, I'm going to be doing the loop on during phase 1. And it's just this this thing we set up. So we open up with 2 mortal draws and hit him twice. And what we do now is we set up the stagger. We set up the next stagger during the stagger that we are getting. So, and then I'm initiating it exactly when he stands up. Except I mess up here. I hit him too early. But it's okay because we're almost at the end anyway. I just hit him a couple more times. And we're done. There we go. Waiting for phase 2. I'm going to be popping 1 confetti. And I'm pretty sure also 1 Akko. Just to make this fight go a little bit faster. And the only thing of note here is that we are going to be... I don't interrupt this scream, but most other screams I will interrupt with a mortal draw. Mostly just waiting for this attack where he's on the ground. That's where we get most of our punishes. Gonna interrupt this one, like that. I didn't mean to do the second part of the mortal draw, but accidentally hit R1 too early. Yeah, the only reason I looped the first phase, I have fought Gape legit before. The only reason I do the loop is it's just so tiring that he keeps running away in phase 1 and recovering posture. It's really annoying how long that fight takes. And since I was doing deathless runs, I have now moved away from that. Now I just loop the first phase because it's just too annoying to deal with. I'm going to be popping the memory, and I'm going to be doing the last skill level ups that really matter. There we go. The way to Owl doesn't look super safe, but it is pretty safe as long as you don't mess up the strats. So we did that run and slide thing for the first time this run. That's how we avoid getting hit by that guy at the door. We're also gonna, once I get to this rooftop, I'm going to stop. Because if we walk forward, this guy would jump on us, and now he doesn't. He only drops down, and that's what we want. Here we're just gonna grapple onto this rooftop, and then onto the plank, and onto the next rooftop. We do a little jump in between, because one of the guys behind us throws a knife. So for the owl fight, we are going to be getting him mostly with vitality damage. I'm going to be doing a loop. And the reason we do that is this fight would otherwise take a long time. There are not that many opportunities to do vitality damage to Owl, and he jumps away frequently. So either you do something like this, or it's much, much slower. And I know it looks kind of easy, but between positioning and timing, it actually took me quite a few practice sessions to get this right. And every time he backs away like that, we have to reinitiate it, which means we still have to like dodge the normal attacks. You can't get away from having the knowledge to dodge all the attacks he has. Phase 2 transition, we just back away so we don't get hit by the stagger. And again, on phase 2 there's another reason to loop. There's the poison throw attack, which is highly annoying because it not only does it stall the fight, but it also blocks part of the arena. So mostly doing the loop again here. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like during phase 2 he breaks out of the loop more often. There we go, and we're done. Now it's time to do what I call the yappening. We're gonna rest here to respawn Emma down here. talk with her once, exit. We're gonna talk with Kuro a bunch of times. This is like a sequence that I had to memorize to do it effectively. Because some of these lines of dialogue you actually have to spam through, and some of these you can exit out of. But yes, safe to say I'm not very pleased with this portion of this, doing this ending, because all of the yapping that we have to do. Oh look, I've been yapping over this video and we're still not done spamming dialogue with Kuro. We're gonna spam through some dialogue with Emma. And we're back at Kuro. It's finally it's over. We can do the cut. After this, there are no more useful skills to get. We're just going to pop the memory from Owl and go back to the wedding cave door. Time to go to Fountainhead Palace. Time for True Monk. True Monk, I am not going to be fighting the first phase of her. I've fought enough first phase Monk at this point. It's getting pretty old. But I am going to be fighting the third phase, so that's going to be nice. We're going to open here with Immortal Draw and immediately start throwing Ash. We can attack her 3 times for each Ash. If we are not in the back, we can only do 2. And yeah, we're just gonna repeat this until it's over. A bit boring, but what are you gonna do? And for phase 2, we're going to grapple up here, as I'm sure you know. Gonna take the plunge from here. Time for the main course. I'm going to be interrupting this spin move with firecrackers. Now we just fight normal. And there goes True Monk. Now it's time to do Lake Skip. So we're not going to be going through Fountainhead Palace in any normal way. I'm going to be using a speedrunner trick here. It's very precise. This skip is very precise, much more precise than it looks. Very easy to fail, but I would still rather do this than go through Fountainhead Palace because it's so boring. It's way too boring. I'm gonna dip down, then time my 2 dashes, and I put actually a pause between the first 4 dashes to time this properly. It's very timing sensitive, very easy to fail. Took quite a bit of practice to get it right. But yeah, that was Fountainhead Palace, everyone. We're through it. I love doing this. time for Divine Dragon. Now, I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but we can actually just sprint through this entire section, all the way to Divine Dragon. We will get aggroed by enemies, but none of them will be fast enough to actually catch up to us. We're going to be starting with this weird fight with the little dragons. I'm going to be circling around just to ensure that I'm not hit by any of them or the branches. Now I'm going to stay on the branch to make sure more of these little dragons spawn. And when the branch fades away, I'm going to be dropping and doing a plunge. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss a couple of these little dragons. Yeah. That would have been a 2-cycle, but unfortunately I have to wait for another set of branches here. And for the actual fight, we can't really avoid this first pushback, so that doesn't count as a hit or damage or anything. I'm just going to be going sideways. There's a lot of sideways sprinting in here. Basically, I'm just going to wait for the combos to finish, or if it's the sweep combo, we can punish during that. That's what we're going to be doing. Here, I don't go for it because the Divine Dragon was in a weird position. And I wasn't close enough to the grapple. And I actually missed the shot, which is pretty bad. That's a bad angle work there. And the reason I'm not going close right now is because I was already close, which caused Divine Dragon to queue up like pseudo melee hits. He doesn't do those moves if you're far away. And it's concerning because it looks like the sweep attack at first, but there is no red marker, no red kanji like this. So if I had gone in during the pseudo melee attacks, would have been hit there. I believe this is the last strike. There we go. During this portion, again, we're going to be sprinting sideways. We're going to avoid most things. And for the meme combo at the end, we're going to be sprinting and jumping. And that's it. And if you're fast enough here, you can get a grapple at the base of the sword. There we go. As we are approaching the final fight, I would like to add that in the unlikely event that you've made it this far in the video, and you like what you see or hear, I do stream on Twitch, So if you like watching streams, you can come over to twitch.tv/banjobunny, and you kind of get to see the runs before they happen when I'm still figuring things out. And currently I am doing Sekiro Shura hitless, so I've already moved on from Damageless and I'm doing hitless now. If you want to see those runs, you can come over. And if you want to see another Damageless run, there's also one on my channel. I'll put a link to it. Besides that, I hope you've enjoyed so far. I'm going to be doing some final touch-ups, pop the memory, and get into the last fight. I won't be talking over it, so see you on the other side.
Sekiro!
Thank you for watching. I would appreciate it if you would like the video. That tells YouTube I'm doing something right, I guess. That's what they tell me. And I have a Dark Souls 3 hitless video coming up soon. So if you would like to see that, well, you know how YouTube works. See ya.